Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland, January 22nd, 2021. I forgot to change that. I missed a whole year. Never mind. Disregard that. It's 2021. For the folks who believe the Bible is true, and see, according to evolution, things ought to get better automatically. My slides should automatically improve. Sure. Yeah. Anyway, we believe God made everything in 6 days, about 6,000 years ago. Dinosaurs always lived with man. And evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. If you believe you all came from a rock, we're here to help. Stay tuned. Okay. Come visit Dinosaur Adventureland. Take the real tour. Many been saved here. 140 baptized so far. I like this one. Are you ready? All I said was, atheists are not very tolerant. That's the truth. We still need a Mrs. Turbo for our lonely African spurred tortoise. He's 15, never been on a date. Please, if you spot one for sale, let us know. A female African spurred tortoise. We have 3 lonely male emus named breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you'd like to find us some female emus, we need one. We now finally have 3 Mrs. Peacocks for our formerly lonely Mr. Peacock. And peacocks do not lay eggs. A lot of people don't know that. The peahen lays the eggs. Peacocks don't lay eggs. Anyway, so they're having fun but last out there. We have about 195 varieties of chickens in the world. And they might have had a common ancestor called a chicken. And we have about, 25 different ones here. A bunch of them. The silky, how many have seen the silky, black and white? So aren't they weird?
It's weird.
Weird looking chicken. There's all kinds. Anyway, we have the guineas, noisy as all get out. And I don't see any visitors today. How many last timers? Okay. If you want to help us stay open for free, go to drdino.com. We don't charge anything. People come here all the time. And you can help us. I want to be a member of the 777 Club. Make any checks to CSE. If you can, do $1 a day or a penny a day, or $1 million a day. Yeah, whatever. We just want to keep getting the gospel out. Okay, tonight, Q&A, comments on comments. And first, we get the people here if you have any questions or topics you want to discuss. If not, then those watching live get second choice. And then those that are posted in the comment section. And then those that are mailed in. Usually, I do not have a folder of mailed in comments. Do you have? No? Okay. Tonight. All right, so I'm going to start with the people here. Anybody got any questions or topics of interest you want to discuss? Like, can worms yawn or something like that? Nothing? Worms can't yawn. Interesting bit of useless trivia. Okay, those watching live, if anybody here, let me know. Call them to my attention. Okay. Allison wrote an in-person debate with you and Mr. Creaky would be fun to watch. I agree. Book them, Dan. Oh, I'll be glad to do it. Alex, how so? Creepy is a dole bludger. What's a dole bludger? Some kind of English expression for... Maybe. Okay. Living in the socialized land owned by Great Britain. Oh, that's right. He's not in England. He's in Wales or one of them other ones. Nunez writes in, I want to send you some more Hawaiian shirts. As I get older, I like the brighter the better, Kent says. That's me. What size are you? Well, 2X is a little snug, but I still squeeze into them. XL is a little snug. 2X is... But the brighter the better, so that'd be great. 25 cents a piece. Lady Di brought me a whole box of them. I'm still wearing them. Love it. Okay, let's see. Lazy Boss writes in, check out Revelation 17:4 and then look at Camilla Harris when she was being sworn in. Did you see that with the purple, Steve? Camilla Harris with the purple, dressed in scarlet, and yeah, that was... Yeah, interesting. What do you think? I don't know. She just may like purple, okay? Maybe no connection at all, but it is interesting. Revelation 17. Yes, sir.
Did you notice the photograph? She placed something between her hand and the Bible.
Whoa, I didn't notice that.
No contact. Something between her hand and the Bible.
Yeah. The purple color is supposed to be a bipartisan gesture.
Okay, bipartisan.
Oh, yeah. Red and blue together.
Now, was that Joe wearing the purple?
I think most of them did.
Okay. Amazing sermon. Thank you, Jordan writes in. There was no 2020 movie called Blade Runner. Maybe it was 2017. Yeah, that could be. I don't know. I don't watch TV or movies at all. So probably was. Okay. Trey writes in, yes, the grandfathers and grandmothers building this country under manifest destiny, building businesses and buying and selling, completely forgot to teach their children that our country is Christian and our culture is Christian and free. Now we have forgotten about everything and we can't do business and lost our freedom. Boy, it's not over yet, Trey. Not over yet. Trump is still going to come out on top. You watch. It ain't over. That lady hadn't sung yet. Disney writes in, thank you all for the Bible study, a true blessing. Well, thank you. Drew, Brother Hovind, I enjoy your teaching. However, mocking the ark, I must say, isn't right. I wasn't mocking the ark. I said they brought this big gold. It was a wooden box plated in gold that they put the 10 Commandments in. It is a piece of temple furniture. It's nothing holy. It's nothing. There's no special powers associated with the ark. All right. It was a symbol of God's presence among the people. Nick writes in, I agree. I know that wasn't his point, but it didn't sit right with me. Also, I don't think he knows what rosaries are for, but I'm not Catholic anyway, so I don't know. IDC? IDC, what is that? I don't care. Okay, IDC. Yeah, the rosary, the Catholics pray, Hail Mary, full of grapes and all that stuff. That's fine. That doesn't give you any, doesn't make you any closer to God than anybody else. Zeka. Oh, you're writing again, Zeka. Welcome back, okay? Mocking the ark was in very poor taste. I've tried to have an open mind about Kent. Really? Not from your comments, you haven't. But anyway, but he keeps proving himself to be what I have read about him. What did you read about? Okay. Nick writes in, all I've read about him is atheists calling him a liar. I find him very agreeable for the most part, though, just not very orthodox in his ways. Who would accuse me of not being orthodox? It's not an accusation. It's a fact. I'll admit that. Okay. I don't care what orthodox is. Seth writes in, if there is any righteousness I possess, it is on loan from Christ. I agree. You don't have any so no need to grovel. Jebediah Jizwil comments fairly frequently. And I'll tell you what, any of you atheists that are frequent commenters, obviously you have nothing else to do with your life. But come up out of the basement, tell your mama you'd like to come down to Dinosaur Adventureland, and I'll debate all of you, same time. Half my brain tied behind my back. Okay, expected, Seth writes in. Vlad, you comment a lot. Don't you have anything to do? Don't you have a job someplace, Vlad? Somebody count up how many comments he makes on every YouTube. I'm glad you watch, and I'm going to get you converted, but nothing else to do. Anyway, if there be any intelligence I possess, I haven't purchased it from a non-accredited diploma mill. Accredited or not accredited has nothing to do with education, nothing to do with intelligence. I don't know how they get that. They're hung up on that, brother. What do I say? Oh, get in the center of the screen. There we go. Same diploma mill that teaches you came from stardust and then soup and then from a rock and then an ape-like creature. Why don't you all do us a favor and prove your science using the scientific method? I agree, Jeremy. Vlad, what scientific evidence do you have of life starting from non-living material or any animal producing babies other than the same kind? Any plant or animal, any life form. It always seems to happen long ago and far away where nobody can test it. Mm-hmm. Never happens today. How many animals are having babies, today? Billions. Yeah. They always make the same kind, don't they? Interesting. Okay. Vlad writes again. Here he is, got nothing else to say. You have no interest in teal science. Teal science. Let alone any ability. Carry on believing in your religion, but not, of course, other religions because you're an atheist with regard to the others. Oh, okay, Vlad. Jeremy writes in, dude, all you have to say is you can't prove your theory using actual science. You don't have to assume that I don't want to believe real science. What I choose not to believe is the fairy tale of evolution, abiogenesis, and the Big Bang. I agree, Jeremy. Go get them. Thanks to all at DAL. Well, thank you, Royal. Cheyenne writes in, I have a lot of trees. If y'all need wood, no charge here, guys. You'll have to give me till late March to provide because I don't have a trailer yet. That's my goal, though. Oh, and goats, too. You've got to have meat goats. Well, I'm for it. Brother, we need a sawmill. We got plenty of trees here. It's just, I've been buying lumber all my life, and I can't believe what's happened to the cost of lumber. Is it just me?
It's inflation, Federal Reserve.
Going crazy. Yeah. So, yeah, if you got a sawmill, or bring it down. We got plenty of trees here. It's just a lot of work to cut up, all that work to cut up, make a 2x4. Joseph, thank you. What's that? All them signs mean? Praying for you? Okay. Yeah. Denver, no scientific proof that dinosaur lived with man.
Carl Voss says.
There's tons of scientific proof that dinosaurs have always lived with man, just under a different name, dragons or something like that. Watch my video number 3. Speaking of which, oh, there it is right here. I got a setback. Yay. Let's see, no, video number 3. Dinosaurs in the Bible. We still need a graphic artist to redo all this part of the front of for the disc. It's got to be high res. Send it to Steve. I want to redo those and make them look sharp because we don't have the master in high res for them to print more for outsourcing our DVDs. We do them here in house, but we just sometimes can't keep up. So with our one little machine. So contact tech@drdino.com. So I'd like to redo that seminar part 2, the Garden of Eden. That needs a better picture behind there. That's just, you can't tell what it is. Let's get something like pizzazz, Garden of Eden. Wow. Okay. If you want to do all 7 of them, let's see. What do I leave off? So I'm sorry, Denver, I disagree. I think there's lots of scientific proof. Watch my video number 3, DVD number 3. I keep saying video. I'm old school. Yeah. Not evolution. Sorry, evolutionists don't use science. I agree. They do not use science. Science is what we can observe, study, test, demonstrate. Evolution is none of those. Terry writes in, thank you, Kent. Swiss, what size screws do you need? Well, we go through screws like water here. Drywall screws, framing screws, the Torx drive ones, 2.5, 3, 3.5 inch. We were always running out of screws, and they're expensive. What's a 25-pound box of those cost? No, is it that much? $100?
100 at least.
$100?
On sale or $100.
If you get them on sale for $100. We go through a bunch. Anyway, okay. Of course it's easy. Why Christ died on the cross, heaven knows. Patrick Packer. I don't understand what that means. Harry Sphincter. Pure fiction. What a name. You ought to change your name unless you already know what it means. Okay. Jungle jargon. The United States is being punished for so many years of sin. That could be, Jungle. I don't know about that. Cam. Doc, I'm no fan of marijuana, but Rocky Dennis had a rare disorder that caused his face to look that way from birth, not from marijuana. Okay, it could be. I showed the pictures of people from taking drugs, and I just typed in, something about just one more, and they had just one more cigarette or one more marijuana cigarette. There was a 1985 movie called Mask made about him and his mother. I wasn't sure if you're being serious or sarcastic. I don't watch movies. I don't know anything about it. So sorry if that was a bad example. But the other examples I think were legit. How that people destroy their life with just one more, Let's see. Don't use Tiktaalik as proof of a transitional. Josh writes. Daughters of Yith. Why? Josh. I emailed Per Albergs. He's the European scientist who studied the 18 million years old footprints. He wrote back and said they are tetrapod tracks with feet and toes. He went on to say regarding Tiktaalik, it's a side branch off tetrapods. Josh writes in, yeah, but that doesn't mean Tiktaalik isn't transition, or Squirrely Joe. I'm sorry. Here's Tiktaalik. This is now what they're touting as one of the best evidences for evolution. Tiktaalik, a monospecific genus of extinct, big name, from the late Devonian period, about 375 million, million years ago. Oh yeah, Toyota Kawasaki. Having many features akin to those of tetrapods. Okay, now hold on, guys. If an animal has many features akin to something else, what does that prove? Could it prove the same guy designed them all? Did you know the Chevy van has some similarities to the Chevy truck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's that prove? They both evolved from a Ford. Unearthed in the Arctic, Canada. Tiktaalik is technically a fish, complete with scales and gills. But it has the flattened head of a crocodile and unusual fins. So Tiktaalik has a flattened head and fins, unusual fins. Therefore, there it is, Tiktaalik. Supposed to be a missing link. Nature Magazine, 2006. Fish and tetrapod mammals. Guys, lining animals up on paper and drawing lines between them does not prove any relationship at all. It proves somebody can draw lines on paper with a ruler. Yeah. You don't know any of these are transitional between any other. There are no animals today doing this. Why could it happen 375 million years ago? Here's what they said. The transition from sea to land. Now, guys, hold on, stop right there. Are there still animals that live in the sea?
Yeah.
How many?
Many.
Millions and millions, right? Why didn't they transition to the land? Is it safer on land for them? Why would they come on land? And if Tiktaalik decided to come up on land and evolve legs, who is Mrs. Tiktaalik? Don't you have to get two of them to do this at the same time, of the opposite sex, in the same place? What if one crawled up on land in Australia and one crawled up on land in America? Honey, where are you?
Doc, have you seen the catfish that walk across the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Walking catfish?
Yeah.
Right. But see, they're assuming coming from sea to land is an improvement. Who said that?
We got catfish that'll come out of that swamp, walk across, and they look funny. They look, if I would.
They're awkward on land?
Yeah.
But they can still, yeah.
Walk across the bridge and
Right.
go to the other lake.
Well,
I've seen them do it.
okay. But see, they're assuming some fossil they found in the dirt is capable of doing something that no animal today has ever been observed to do. And when you find a bone in the dirt, really all you know is it died. You don't know it had any kids, okay? So, but they draw this in the textbook as this is the evidence right here. There it is. Paleontologists have uncovered new fossils from Tiktaalik rosea, which, while still a fish, is considered a transitional fossil that also has traits common to the first four-footed animals. This more complete picture of Tiktaalik suggests that the creature had strong, mobile hind fins. Well, if a creature has strong, mobile hind fins, what does that prove? It needs strong, mobile hind fins to do whatever it does in life, like, shallow water.
Chase after smaller fish.
Chase after Mrs. Tiktaalik. I don't know. Evolution News had an article, Tiktaalik blown out of the water by earlier tetrapod fossil footprints. They're claiming it went up on land and therefore it's intermediate. But yet 18 million years earlier in their stupid geologic column, they found creatures had already come up on land. So Tiktaalik is not a missing link anyway. Here is what they found. Can you tell from that evolution is happening? You guys are really, really desperate. All along through your religion, you don't even realize it. You are busy all along worshiping rocks. Aren't they? Oh, yes. A guy called me the other day. He wants to have a debate with me. I'll be glad to do that, by the way. He said, you keep saying we came from a rock. We don't believe that. I said, do you believe the earth was cooled down from a hot molten mass and developed a hard rocky crust 4.6 billion years ago? He said, yes. I said, okay. Then as it cooled, it began to rain, and it rained on the rocks for millions and millions of years and formed oceans. And in the oceans was a bunch of minerals dissolved from these rocks. Yes. And those minerals came alive somehow. Yes. So you believe you came from a rock? No. There's certain kinds of stupid are unfixable, brother.
Yeah.
My dad would say certain kinds of stupid can only be fixed with a ball bat. That's the only cure. Anyway, so and so if it's not a rock that turned into soup that came alive, it's a rock from a dead animal, a fossil, that somehow was able to do something no animal today can do. It's listed in the textbooks, evidence for evolution. Late Devonian lobe-finned fish and amphibious tetrapods, tetra meaning four, okay, 4 foot, pod foot. Okay, Tiktaalik, I'm sorry, that is wrong. Tiktaalik is not a missing link. There's a great article on creation.com. Is the famous fish fossil finished? Yep, it is. Taz, good job on the article. Appreciate that. Tracks of footprints found in a quarry in Poland have turned the paleontological world upside down. For years, there's been a neat evolutionary story about how fish evolved 4 legs and came out of the ocean onto the land. Probably the most famous fossil in this sea-to-land icon of evolution is Tiktaalik, a fish with fins that was claimed to have had features intermediate between fish and birds. They found footprints across the land turned into rock. So somebody studied the round impressions in the ground and said, oh, it must have walked like this. Okay, let's assume that's true. If a creature can crawl out of the water and waddle across the land, what does that prove?
They're doing it today out here.
They're doing it today here in Lenox, Alabama. Lobe-finned fish is slowly changing to an early amphibian. Guys, so this lobe-finned fish had to change from gills to lungs, right? From scales to skin, from no hips to hips. You realize just to change from breathing through gills to breathing through lungs. I think there'd be a couple hundred trillion differences in the anatomy for that to happen. How about if I said a rear engine Volkswagen slowly evolved to a front engine car? How many changes would have to be made?
Thousands.
And that's just a car, not a living object. Part of our tour, we drive by the frog thing you put on the fence down there for us, Brady.
Yeah.
I said, stuffed frog. I say, does anybody know what that is? That's a frog. No, it is not. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's a stuffed animal. Nobody with one eyeball and half a brain would say that stuffed frog-looking thing could make itself. But yet you think the real frog made itself, which is 1 trillion times more complicated than a stuffed frog. I don't know. Hope stupidity is not contagious through the internet. Okay. They just make up these stories. Let's see. Peter Man writes, I really hope Creepy can be saved. I agree. We don't know his struggles or his history, but if we can show him that we care, maybe we can change his mind. I just want to remind everyone that we are in the light. We are the light and salt of the earth. Good. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. Shining the light makes the darkness people get upset. I just try to shine the light. And salt. We're supposed to be the salt of the earth, right? Salt does a lot of cool things. Did you know salt irritates? I'm good at that, aren't I? How you doing there, creepy blinder? I'm not trying to irritate you. I'm trying to get you saved. I really am. You'll make a great Christian. Make one of God's children. Well, we welcome you to the family if you get straightened out. Salt also preserves. Salt flavors. Salt does a lot of cool things. Okay. Pixel writes in, yet you're here. That's the wrong your, Pixel. You need to learn a little bit of English. It's Y-O-U''. It's a contraction for you are here. Though that word your is meaning like it's your place to sit down over there. And that's never mind. Okay. It's a wrong your. You're here watching Kent, a convicted criminal. Brady, what do you got to say about that?
Sorry, what was your question?
I'm a convicted criminal?
Not at all.
Not at all. And a lot of people get convicted of things. Doesn't mean they're criminal or did anything wrong. Jesus was crucified. And what does that have to do with the story?
It's an illegal conviction.
Illegal conviction was going to be overturned.
Does that change the message?
How does that change the message? Right. Okay. But that's all Pixel has to go on. Pixel domination. Wow. Bradlin writes in my heart of hearts, I pray you have a long life, so it's refreshing to listen to your clear-cut reasoning. Well, thank you, Bradlin. Pixel writes again, the guy is a convicted criminal. That's all you got to say? Hey, Pixel, bring on all your atheist evolutionist friends. I'll debate them all at the same time. Any questions from the crowd or here, Steve? Okay. What do you think of the aliens, fallen angels in Antarctica pulling the strings? I don't know about the Antarctica part. I think there are fallen angels, and I appreciate the donation. Genesis chapter 6 has been used quite often to claim that there are half man, half human, demonic stuff. Genesis 6, there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, they bear them children. I don't think it's possible to prove that the two clauses in that sentence are connected. I think the also after that might be a dividing point, but I don't know. Certainly there are fallen angels. Can they intermarry and produce children at all? I don't think so. No evidence of that I'm aware of. Anybody?
Well, the Bible says they reproduce after their kind. In order for them to do it, they got to have male body parts.
Yeah, and angels are always referred to in the masculine, but that doesn't, so are, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay, Josh writes in, yet you and I both know Jenny Clack proved transitional fossils contradict your belief. Shooting stars. Still clinging to the tick to lick the fish? Where is the evolution? Jenny Clack. Although these small distal bones bear some resemblance to tetrapod digits in terms of their function and range of movement, they are still very much components of a fin. There remains a large morphological gap between them and digits, as seen in, for example, Acanthrostega. If the digits evolve from these distal bones, the process must have involved considerable developmental repatterning. See, that just doesn't happen in nature. It doesn't happen in science. We don't see these things. We see variations happen within limits, but they have limits. Have farmers been trying to get bigger, have the vets been trying to get bigger dogs? Steve, what kind of dog is yours?
Lab.
A lab, okay. Pretty good sized dog. What's the biggest dog they now have?
A Tibetan Mastiff.
A Tibetan Mastiff, okay. What, weigh 200 pounds?
Easy.
Easy, okay. Do you think they'll ever get a dog as big as an elephant? There are animals as big as an elephant, like an elephant. Oh, yeah. What's the smallest dog? What's that one you got, brother? Completely useless.
Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua, okay. And Joe, when he comes and brings the hay from New Mexico, has a toy Chihuahua, about half the size of yours. Did you see that one?
I have seen them.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Do you think they'll ever get a dog? They've been trying. Now, how long would those Chihuahuas last in the woods by themselves?
2 minutes.
About 2 minutes, okay? You got to babysit them. You got to protect them. You got to bring them their food, right? You got to take care of them, protect them. So the varieties of dog that man has produced over the centuries is pretty impressive, but they're still dog. Technically, probably still interfertile. Might be a few mechanical problems, with the Chihuahua and the Great Dane, but they're still dog, and they're more limited in their usefulness, their ability to survive. Turn all the dogs in the world loose into the woods. Come back 10 years later, probably only have 15 or 20 different varieties that are capable of surviving. It would narrow it down, not expand it. But your evolutionists, somehow you get it in your head, these changes are good, which they've never been observed, and make it more survivable in nature. That's just simple dreaming. Sorry about that. So Tiktaalik it says, if the digits evolve from these distal bones, the process must have involved considerable developmental repatterning. Fancy way of saying a lot of changes had to be made. Yep. Just imagine. Oh yeah, I got him right here. Just imagine millions of years. We'll do it. Yeah, you can imagine all you want. Okay, Daniel writes in, where did the dinosaurs actually go, and why didn't Noah take him on the ark if they disappeared during the flood? As Genesis says, he took everything, living, breathing thing on the boat. Well, Daniel, I covered that in great detail on my video number 3. What about the dinosaurs? It's very simple. Dinosaurs always lived with man. They were called dragons or some other name in some other culture, but 1's about the age of the earth, 2 is about the Garden of Eden, 3, dinosaurs and the Bible. They always lived with man. They are mentioned in the Bible. They were part of the normal creation. Noah did take them on the ark, probably babies. Just be sure to get a pink one and a blue one. And after the flood, people killed most of them, exterminated them over the next 1,000 years or so. There are thousands of legends of people killing dragons. They were killing off the dinosaurs, or they died from the climate change. If you look at the age of people before the flood came, the people lived to be 900 years old. This is the chart you can get for ministry. How much are these, Yulia?
Single is $8. A pack of them of 6 is $30.
A pack of 6 of them, if you want to use them for placemats when your skeptic friends come over, $30. But it's got a whole bunch of stuff about Grand Canyon on the back. We got them with a heavy lamination. So before the flood, the people lived to be 900 years old. Well, reptiles never stopped growing. Never. So they would get really big. That's the age of dinosaurs right here. I did cut my thumb, by the way, about 2 minutes before. Had to rush down here. So, find the tape. What did I find? Bright white. Sorry. It'll feel better when it quits hurting. But then after the flood, lifespans dropped off to 400, then 200, then 100. And today, not many make it to 100. So there could be some types of dinosaurs, like maybe the brachiosaur. Because of the climate change, it couldn't even live long enough to reach maturity. Maybe they had to be 30 years old and 20 feet tall before they could reproduce. And now in the new world, they can't live that long. So they would die off. So they could have died off from the climate change or from man's hunting. I don't know. But I think they've always lived with man. Thank you for the question. Calvin's Movie writes in, do you think Leviathan could have been a fire-breathing sea serpent? Calvin, I have a whole series of the green videotapes, the Bible and Health. How many in that series? Yulia, 10, 12? 13 of them. Get the whole series for $50, okay? different sermons on. One is about Leviathan, the fire-breathing dragon. So yes, I believe it was probably now whether it lived on land or sea is questionable. If you read Job chapter 41, right dead center in your Bible, the book of Job, chapter 41 has a whole chapter about Leviathan, mentioned in the Bible several times. I think it was probably something like a T-Rex, my guess. And I give my reasons why on that videotape. Go to drdino.com. So yes, Calvin, I think probably certainly a dinosaur would be my guess from the description. Everybody was afraid of this critter, according to Job 41. Calvin's movie writes again, have you heard that the Greek and Roman gods were actually fallen angels, aka demons? Same goes for the Native American god. That could be, it could be that led to the legend of where these things came, legends get stretched over time, but it could have been some of these fallen angels. There could have been people able to do unusual things, demonically possessed or something. I don't have an answer to that. Anybody got a good sermon on that? Who are the fallen angels? I've heard 100 different theories on that, and so I have to wait to get to heaven and see. Okay, thank you so much. Let's see. Still clinging to Tiktaalik. Oh, here we go. Josh writes in, I agree that's stated, but she goes on proving Tiktaalik is. So this lady who said it's have to be a lot of changes from Jenny Clack goes on to state Tiktaalik is a missing link in Nature magazine. You're giving a snippet, that's the wrong your again, Josh, giving a snippet of the first line of the article. That's the wrong your again, Josh. Did you go to school? Learn like English? But you're not proving your argument. Quoting Jenny Clack is like quoting Walt Disney to prove Disneyland is a horrible place. Okay, shooting stars. You're not, now see, he's got the right you're not proving where the evolution is, LOL. Where is the evolution? It was a fish with fins, just like mud skippers we see alive today. I agree. Orange writes into I'm buying your movies with my stimulus check, Kent. Yay, good. The whole series, The Bible and Health, How to Make Money and Spend It Wisely, 13 different ones. It's $50 for all that. I think you'll enjoy, and your kids will enjoy some. I've got one just on magic tricks and how to do them. You ever see me pull the rope through my neck? Tie a knot right through my neck. Yeah. And I love magic tricks. Okay. Kent writes in, that's me. Every plant and animal in the world has babies that are obviously the same kind as themselves. Why would you believe, all caps, that Tiktaalik was able to produce offspring other than its own kind when no fish or animal or plant today can do this? You cannot prove Tiktaalik had any children, or had children that lived or were different. You may indeed believe it did, but that's not science. Now that's a smart commenter right there. Yeah, okay. Tiktaalik writes in, can't Tiktaalik only ever produce Tiktaalik? Don't you understand evolution yet? Slow down, say that, what? Tiktaalik only ever produced Tiktaalik. Okay. We don't know that the bones you found produced anything, do we? You couldn't prove they had any kids. So you found bones in the dirt that have slightly different fins, okay? Don't you understand evolution yet? No, I guess Tiktaalik, I do understand that it is a complete fairy tale. It's the dumbest and most dangerous idea ever come across humanity. That I understand. Shooting Stars writes in, hard to understand something which never happened. I agree. Evolution never happened. Okay, here we go from Lane Oliver. Hey, Kent, is the current population of the world a pretty clear fact showing that the world is young? Wouldn't it be way more if millions of years? Yes, on my video number 1, I show charts and everything from the population of the Earth. DVD number 1 about the age of the Earth. Garden of Eden, here we go, the age of the Earth. I've got quite a few scientific factors that point to the fact that this Earth is not billions of years old. One of them is the population. Today there are 7.4 billion people. In 1800, there was 1 billion people. 1 billion. At the time of Christ, 1/4 of a billion in the whole world. You draw it on a graph and say, wow, population started less than 5,000 years ago. Yep. 8 people got off of Noah's Ark 4,400 years ago. So watch my video number 1 for a whole lot more on that. Okay, Victoria DeSanti from our 6th grader. Hi, Dr. Hovind. Thank you for your help. I asked my science teacher about the assumptions in radioactive dating. He just stared. you want to watch my video number 7, which is actually 2 DVDs, 5 hours long, questions and answers, all kinds of stuff. One of them is a long, simple answer anybody can understand to what is this carbon dating? How is it supposed to work, and why doesn't it work? Potassium argon, rubidium. Brother, we could do carbon dating here, couldn't we? In our science center.
Especially carbon.
Yeah, carbon.
Like 620 years, something like that.
Yeah, they argue about the number 5790, and the numbers change a little bit, but yeah, half-life. Yeah, okay.
That one's so well documented, nobody can struggle over that thing.
I don't think anybody that understands uses carbon dating to prove anything as far as the heat and pressure can change it in minutes too, you know. Okay, hope that helps. Tell your 6th grade teacher, tell your 6th grader to tell all their teachers. I'll be glad to debate any of them. Call me on Skype or 855-BIG-DINO, extension 3. Tell you what, why don't you get permission to have me come into the class where you are by Skype? And I'll answer all the questions of all the atheists and evolutionists, and I'll show the lies from the textbooks. Get all the evidence from your 6th grade textbook to say, this is the evidence for evolution, and I'll refute it right there in front of God and everybody. Be glad to. Free of charge. Okay. They've done some more sacrifices on the makeshift 3rd temple altar recently. I hadn't heard that. Boomer, send us the link for that. Are they really, have anybody heard that? Are they doing sacrifices on the, they got to have a temple first, I think. Now they know where the Ark of the Covenant is. That's been discovered 20 years ago. They haven't moved it yet, but they know where it is, right there in Jerusalem. Okay, let's see. How should I help transsexuals with gender dysphoria in both love and truth? Victor, good question. God loves everybody, and anybody can be saved. If someone is a homosexual or transsexual, God still loves them and is still willing to forgive them and convert them and take them right into the family. King David was a murderer and an adulterer. God used him to write half the book of Psalms. Moses was a murderer. God used him to lead the people out of Egypt. So it's not a problem. God can take in. There's not, some people think that particular sin is worse than the rest. No, it's not. God despises it. And the Bible says when God gives up on somebody, he turns them over to that. So God may have given up. I don't know. But I don't know who God's given up on or not. My job is to witness to everybody. Try to get them all saved. And if they come into the kingdom, great. If they don't, oh well. I did my best. But I don't shut anybody off. I've got some cousins that are in that lifestyle, we'll call it. And God loves them. It's wrong, but God loves them. Okay, that's it. Any questions from here? I got 3 more pages of mine to do, but
A little comment. You mentioned salt. Do you know about salt being used to make aluminums hard, raising the temperature up to like 900 degrees?
wait, they can't hear your comment here. Using salt to make aluminum hard.
Yeah. They use
Hold it. Is it just to harden the surface for wear, or to harden it all the way through?
Yeah, it adds a surface hardness. I think you take the salt up to like 900 degrees, liquefy it, you put an annealed aluminum into it. I think it's a 70, 76, something, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it'll make the aluminum hard. So salt also can make metals strong.
Wow. Heat the salt to 900 degrees,
Something like that.
liquefy, liquid salt. Interesting. Don't know. Hadn't heard that. Okay. Does Satan doubt God's omniscience and power to see the future? How does Satan think he can win? Bro, that's a great question. I don't know. He apparently really thinks he can win. But actually, there's a verse that says, when he's cast down to earth, he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Where's that verse? He was cast down to the earth. He knows he's got a short time. Revelation, I'll have to just look up. He knoweth, type in Google, Satan cast down to the earth. And that's when he really gets busy on the earth, knowing he's only got a short time. Why he doesn't just say, Lord, I'm sorry, and forget it. Go back. Let's see. Right there. Do that one, Troy. How did the fresh fish survive in the flood? Oh, they had a blast. The whole world was fresh water. I believe during the flood, my globe is around here somewhere. No, they're way up there. The whole world was fresh water. Oceans have, that's another one of the things I cover on DVD number 1 about the age of the earth. The oceans are gradually increasing in salt. Where rain comes off the land, bringing mineral salts with it, evaporation takes out just the water, leaves the salt behind. It's a giant distillation process, and the oceans are gradually getting saltier. Today, they're 3.6% salt. They could have gone from nothing to 3.6 in 4,500 years easily. So I think many fish have had to learn to adapt to salt water. Most of them don't like it. Most animals in the salt water have to have some way to get rid of the salt in their blood or in their system. What's the animal that secretes it out its nostrils, makes salt crystals and blows them out its nose?
It's a Galapagos iguana.
Galapagos iguana, yeah, blows salt crystals out of its nose because he lives in the salt water. So to most of them, it is a nuisance, okay, and they've had to adapt some way to tolerate the salt, but that's a good indication. Amanda, thank you for the gift. We will use it for the Lord around here. Troy writes in, oh, freshwater fish survive in the flood. Oh, do all aborted babies go to heaven? Queckle, there's only one verse I'm aware of that might deal with that subject. When King David committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, Bathsheba, she got pregnant. He called the husband home from the war, had him killed. Sad, sad story. King David did this. Psalm 51, he repented over it all. But when she had the baby died. And David was mourning and praying and fasting before the baby died. And when it died, he got up, had washed, took a bath, and had supper. People said, David, most people mourn after the death. What is going on? He said, well, while the baby was alive, I was hoping God would change his mind. But he said, I can't go to him. He said, I can't bring the baby back to me, but I shall go to him. That's I think a pretty clear indication that David knew this child went to heaven. But that's about the only verse I know of to hang my hat on. Anybody have any other ones that babies go to heaven? I think probably everybody up until a certain age. We call it the age of accountability, but that's different with every kid. Some kids, my daughter, when she was 3, was just begging, Daddy, can I please get saved? I don't think you understand, honey. Yeah, I do, Daddy. I got to get saved. Okay. Some people are 4 or 5 before they understand enough. It varies from kid to kid. But I think it'd be reasonable to say that children who have not yet reached whatever the age of accountability is, which would include all aborted babies, yes, do go to heaven. Okay, thank you so much. Oh, did one more? Did you graduate high school? I didn't do that one.
It was Sam Kinnison.
I went to East Peoria High School, graduated in 71. Sam Kinnison. I don't remember that name. If he went to even going to East Peoria High School doesn't mean the 2,000 people there at the school. I don't remember them all. But anyway, okay. Any other questions, comments? Thank you so much. No Bible study tomorrow. That's Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. Anybody on time gets to go to lunch for free. I'll buy your lunch. Yay. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye. Sunday. Bye. Yay.